Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and today we're going to do another geek dive, this time into an RPG which can be only described as fabulous. Evil Hat Productions' Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I love this game so much. It is the gayest thing on planet Earth. Look at it. Ugh. And yes, that is my professional opinion. Oh, let's have a look. So then, here we are. Lesbians of the Thirsty Sword variety, written by April Kit Walsh, whom I believe is trans themselves, I think I'm right in saying. You'll often hear me say, always judge a book by its cover, and if any cover said what Thirsty Sword Lesbians is, it's this. Look at it, it's glorious. We have two individuals here clearly fighting to the death. This one loving every minute of it. This one, shall we say, looking like they've got an internal struggle. Look where they're looking. By the end of this fight, they're either going to be dead or in bed together. And I know which one my money's on. I love this cover. As soon as I saw it, it was a case of, nope, I'm buying this. And if you like this cover, you'll like Thirsty Sword Lesbians. If you're looking at it and think, yeah, then don't bother buying it. It's not for you, because this cover is Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I love the character art in this book. These are some of the playbooks you get to choose from. It's just great. And there we go again. The art throughout is just wonderful. The whole tone is playful, flirty, just naughty. It's great. I love it so much. Like all Evil Hat games, it's got a lot of very easy to follow instructions just to ground you in the world of role-playing games, and this one very specifically tells you about what this game is and what it does differently to other RPGs out there. Love, Swords and Adventures, all about a positive community, and it gives you some tips on actually how to be a Thirsty Sword Lesbian. Change the world for the better, fight when something is worth fighting for, redeem or seduce adversaries, make out, dance and carouse, solve problems, deliver zingers, and make lasting friends. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Again, just a few ideas on how to run the game. Flirting is a huge part of this game, as I've already mentioned, and this book not only gives you advice on how to do that safely in the game, but it also has some very clear rules and guidance on how to keep people safe. Because at the end of the day, it's the characters who are flirting with each other, not the players. But sometimes it can be a bit weird and feel like you're flirting with your friends. So it just lays out everything that you need to know before you even start playing, and sets a very no fascists or bigots allowed tone right from the get-go. Continues to look at safety tools. And then this page here really is the core of pretty much any PBTA game. Everything that is powered by the apocalypse is done by making a move. You roll 2d6 plus a number according to your particular stats. You roll them. If you get 10 plus on your results, that means you get a positive outcome. When you get 7 to 9, it's a positive outcome with some downsides. And if you roll 6 or less, then it doesn't necessarily mean that something bad's going to happen, but it just hasn't gone your way entirely. Again, great art. Just there's a swashbuckling tone to the whole thing, and also just coolness. Here are the stats. This is what sold me on Thirsty Sword Lesbians after I saw the cover, because if you look here, so you've got daring, grace, wit, spirit, yep, fine, but you've also got a stat for heart, emotional awareness and expression. Now, I'm a therapist, so I see an RPG that has a stat for empathy, which is, let's face it, that's what that is, and I go, ugh! So, yeah, if you want to have a look at a game that uses empathy well, have a look here. Conditions, unlike a lot of other RPGs, PBTA uses conditions rather than hit points, so if things go a certain way, you develop conditions and they stack up, and eventually if you have a certain number of conditions, things go particularly badly. But as you'll notice here, all of these are emotional conditions. You get angry, frightened, guilty, hopeless, insecure. So again, we've got specific rules here for dealing with emotions in our clients' characters. Guys, I can't tell you how happy this makes me. Rules for getting better after you've amassed a few conditions. You'll see the words there, emotional support. So not only do the conditions impact on the character's emotions, the only way to get better is for other characters to offer them emotional support. Please tell me you're as excited about all of this as I am. I've read this book so many times now, and just looking through it now, I'm going, oh yeah, I love that bit. Oh yeah, I love that bit. And then we've got rules here on strings. Because this game is all about relationships, and specifically romantic relationships, you've got rules about pulling on each other's heartstrings, which is essentially what this is. The basic idea being that if somebody else's character gains a string on yours, or you gain one on them, that means that you can influence the way they do things. Not necessarily creepily, as in, oh, right, I want you to go and do this just because you like me. But because it's like, oh, yeah, they're doing something, I bend over, show them a bit of leg, and they go all hot and flustered. That kind of cheeky fun. It's, again, naughty. I love it. For getting experience, and these are the basic moves that everybody in the game can play. The thing about many PBTA games these days is that the list of moves that players need to get their head around is just ridiculously long. But here we're still in sensible territory. As I mentioned earlier, you roll your 2d6 plus your stat, and you follow the rules according to the move that you're invoking, which is great, but it can all be a bit fiddly because you've got to go, oh, what do I need to do at this particular point in time? Is that a danger move? Is it a string move? What should I do now? Whereas a lot of games, it's a simple case of, oh, I want to do this, I'll roll to see if I do it well. PBTA and Thirsty Sword Lesbians as one of those is a bit more specific. I'm going to use this move in this circumstance, and then you've got to follow the moves as outlined in the book. But still fairly simple here. So you've got your fight, you've got defy disaster, which is what it sounds like. Stagger backwards so that you don't get hurt as bad. And you've got your heartstring moves, which again are all emotionally based, so entice people, figure them out emotionally, influence with a string. You becoming smitten with other people's characters, and kissing in a dangerous situation. Look at it, they're kissing. Aww. And you've got recovery moves. Look, an entire page about how characters can offer each other emotional support. Come on. Come on. Yeah. So, again, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, fairly sensible on the number of moves they have. Some books can have some like 50 plus pages of moves and then individual moves per playbook, so it can just get too much. Whereas now, here, we're doing okay. All about creating your character. So the way PBTA games work is they offer you something called playbooks, which is basically kind of a character class, kind of a career, loads of stat choices, just a particular character type per playbook. So the way it works is you choose your playbook and then make your character within that playbook. So we've got the beast. You choose which of these sets of stats you have. So if you were to roll a move that required your daring, you'd roll 2d6 plus 1. If you were to roll a heart and you chose this row of stats, column of stats, you'd roll 2d6 minus 1. You've got special rules, and you've got individual special moves per playbook, which you can upgrade as game goes by. And there's a lovely little section about how to actually play this character type. This is one of my least favourite parts of PBTA games, simply because, okay, it makes character creation very simple, but to my mind it's a bit limiting, personally. I'd like to have freedom to make just about anything I like, but it's part of the charm of these games, and so I'm not going to take away from it. But if I did have any criticism of these kind of games, it would be this. Chosen, another, and you'll see that they've all got their own specific special rules to them. Devoted, infamous. I want to show you my favourite picture of this entire book. Where is it? Got the scoundrel, should be the next one. Nope. The seeker. Here we go. The spooky witch. I love this illustration. It makes me happy. It is somebody who is so settled within their own skin, don't give a damn what anybody else thinks. I just love it. I love it as a class. I love it as an illustration. I love the rules for it. It's just perfect. Love this game so much. Special rules for the unseen, which is how they access their magic. Trickster. Yeah. And then you've got some rules for GMing the game. Fairly standard stuff. GMs don't roll dice in a PBTA game, so which is a bit unusual. But you know, again, keeps things going fairly simply. Oh, she's crying. And tone, obviously very important to this kind of game. And the rest of the book after that is really just either advice on how to run a game, or, here we go, settings and adventures. See, all of the rules, that's all you need to play the game. All of this are settings, obstacles, NPCs, just things to set your game in. And there is actually an entire other book called Advanced Lovers and Lesbians, which just adds 3 times more to this section. These settings and adventures have great titles. The 3 Orders of Ardor. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one. But where is it? Yes. There's one. Gal Paladins, there you go. Sword Lesbians of the 3 Houses. There we go. Monster Queers of Castle Gayskull. For somebody who grew up on He-Man, which was pretty gay anyway, that title makes me happy. And then Sparkle Heart Magic Force Go. It's just great. Got some simple rules sheets here just to help you get through it all. And then you're done. And yeah, just look at them. You can tell what this game is just by looking at that. And there we go. So then, thirsty sword lesbians in RPG therapy? Well, yeah. There is so much to love about this book, especially from a therapeutic standpoint. And I'm sure as you were watching through that review, you were going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Me too. But just to labour the point, here are my takeaway comments. So, for starters, it's a PBTA game, which means the mechanics are dead simple. Roll 2d6, add your stat, job done. There's no flipping back and forth for the right table. There's no modifiers that apply for one scenario but not another. It's all perfectly straightforward. Beautiful. And because it's a PBTA game, character creation is dead easy. Again, we've spent a lot of time on this channel talking about how much effort goes into creating your characters, all the maths and number crunching, but here there's none of that. You choose your playbook, you tick a few boxes, job done. And it gets even better when you add Advanced Lovers and Lesbians into the mix, because the number of playbook options available to you just skyrockets. It's great. So if you have a client who really struggles with the thought that needs to go into creating a character, Thirsty Sword Lesbians especially, but just about any Powered by the Apocalypse game is really going to be a safe bet for them. And it makes the GMs, i.e. your life, easier too by giving you page upon page of different setting and scenario ideas. But it's the string moves and the focus on emotions that makes TSL an RPG therapist's dream come true. Any game in the world that has the phrase emotional support as a core mechanic, I mean, just to repeat myself, every character begins play with some deep emotional hang-ups or outright trauma, and the book is excellent at walking both the GM and players through helping the character get from a place of insecurity to a place of self-acceptance, self-worth, and general okayness with their life as it stands. Sound like anything we could use with our clients? But forget all the therapeutic applicability. Easily my favourite part of Thirsty Sword Lesbians is how unabashedly flamboyant it is. The spooky witch just makes me happy, and that's all I want from an RPG. But of course, it can't all be plain sailing, can it? So there are a couple of things that we'd need to look at before just throwing TSL at our clients wholesale. For a start, them moves. As I mentioned, Powered by the Apocalypse games recently have started to suffer from bloating in the moves department, and it can be hellish to get your head around all of the different options available. TSL doesn't have that big a problem, but players still need to know what moves are available to them before they can actually start using those moves. Sounds obvious, I know, but it's one of those examples of where you've actually got to memorize the system before you can play, or at least be prepared to spend a good part of your first few sessions flicking through going, oh, what move applies to this situation? Not a deal breaker, but something to be aware of going into the process. Then there's the playbook issue. Now, I confess I've always been a bit hit and miss when it comes to PBTA character creation. The playbooks make life extremely easy, don't get me wrong. All you've got to do is say, right, I want to play this playbook, tick a couple of boxes, and you're good to go. But to my mind, it doesn't really allow for enough flexibility or creativity. If your client comes to an RPG therapy session expecting to be able to do pretty much anything, then they might find a playbook a bit limiting. Sure, with a bit of thought, they will be able to realize their hopes within a particular playbook, but it doesn't necessarily lend itself to immediate, oh, I want to do this so I can do this now kind of thinking. But I think perhaps the biggest difficulty you'll have introducing TSL to your clients is that very flamboyance that I love so much about it. I mean, for crying out loud, it's called Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which, okay, yeah, gives you a very good idea of what you're getting for your money, but there are going to be some clients for whom that's just too much. I used to see clients in a school setting. I wouldn't dream of taking this book into a school setting if I ever wanted to see clients ever again. And likewise, there are going to be some clients who just don't appreciate the sexualized language that the book uses. None of this has to be a deal breaker, obviously, but it just means that, as with any other consideration in our profession, you need to take stock of each client's interests, outlooks, and needs before you just throw something at them without thinking. But as far as I'm concerned, none of that really matters. I have no hesitation in saying to you, go out, get yourself a copy of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, and have a go at using it with your clients. Sure, it'll take a bit of work, you'll have to handle it carefully, but you're going to do that anyway, right? I adore this game, and I hope more people like yourselves will go out and use it. I and my clients have had so much fun with it. I and other professional colleagues have had a lot of fun with it as well. You will too. So go out there, get yourself a copy of this fabulous book, and be a bit thirsty and swordy. And what do you think? Do you think Thirsty Sword Lesbians would be a good addition to your RPG therapy collection? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you have any particular ideas on how you'd use it with clients, I'd love to hear some of those. And if you have any other RPG systems in mind that you think would be particularly good for client work, let us know that as well. Everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. As usual, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, subscribing, I would much appreciate it. And don't forget to buy your own copy of Thirsty Sword Lesbians at your nearest game store. So, until next time, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers. Everyone, it's here! Role-playing games in psychotherapy, a practitioner's guide by some random bloke called Daniel Hand. Pick up a copy wherever you get your books, and obviously please do leave a 6-star review. I'd much appreciate it.